Well, okay, I'm rocking denim today. We're doing Neighbours summary, episode 70 to 80. So, what's happened here? Well, previously, Paul's girlfriend had an abusive father, and I'm not exactly sure what happens with his girlfriend because I had to skip an episode because the sound was just dreadful. I had two sources, must have used the same video because the sound was awful in both of them. But let's go one by everyone. Right, Paul is having the high life, working in the aero industry. I don't know whether he's a pilot or I think he's a stewardess. Or steward, whatever you call it, the male version. Shane's quite interested in these episodes. He starts chauffeuring this woman around, and she's all like, "Oh, can I go in your house and use your phone?" And then Max is like, "Who the fuck are you?" And she's like, "Is your dad always like that?" And then Shane starts talking, and she's like, "I don't want your fucking life story." She's like, "Another bitch." And then she's like, "Right, I'm going to the hospital. Don't come in. If you come in, I'll fire you." And then someone rings him and goes, "Oh, you've got to get her. It's urgent." So he's like, "Oh, fuck, what do I do?" So he comes in and she goes mental with him. But because basically her husband's dying. And I don't think she wants anyone to know. But again, I don't know the details because the fucking episode was unlistenable and unwatchable. Some would say all episodes of Neighbours are unwatchable, but I couldn't possibly comment. Some people might even be like, "Why are you doing this?" I'm not doing this for Neighbours specifically. It's like when you run a marathon. You don't run a marathon because you like running, unless you're fucking weird. You're doing it for the challenge. You're doing it for everything but the running. The running just so happens to be the thing that you need to do. I like a challenge, and there's nearly 9,000 episodes of this fucking thing. So you can't tell me watching this isn't a fucking challenge, even if you enjoy it. It's dawning on me. It's going to take me fucking years to watch this, but I'm in it. I'm in it now. As long as I can get access to the episodes, I'll do it. Right. Anyway, so that's why out the way. What else have we got? So yeah, Paul's still decent guy. Not an asshole yet. Nothing's happened to him yet though. Spoilers. Things happen to him. So we've covered Shane. His brother Danny is an idiot. We already know this. Now he's got some lass called Wendy who's just appeared out of nowhere, who's on holiday and staying at his house, and he's kind of starts snogging her like you do, and then takes her out for dinners, but she's a bit of a gold digger, so she's kind of like, "Oh, you're only spending $5 on me." And back then, a dollar was worth about half a pound, so it's like, "Oh, you're only spending £2.50 on me." Yeah, so a bit of a gold digger, and then she meets Scott next door, and she's like, "Oh, can you take me to the fanciest restaurant in town?" I'm guessing she wants lobster as well. She's only 16, so I'm not quite sure she's even promising anything other than a bit of a kiss behind the bike sheds, which most boys that age, they're not really that bothered about, to be honest. So what else? Yes, Kim's not in this one. I think she's resolved her story arc. Helen's just usual background shite. Lucy's actually had a role for once. She's been the peeping Tom, looking out the window with her binoculars like you do because the school told her to, and she spies this criminal who's being in prison, and he's escaped prison. Who just so happens to have knocked Shane down, and also happens to be the husband of Terry English, the plumber for Max, which is Shane's dad. Oh, what is the fucking coincidence of that? I mean, how many people live in this fucking area? Like 100 or something. Anyway, so there's that, and yeah, he's basically trying to kill her, Terry English, and he manages to sneak inside Des and Daphne's house, and then Julie and Lucy get in there, and he's like hiding from them with a gun and stuff. And then he sees Terry, and he follows her in a car, and yeah, I think it's Max's building for some reason, and she's like banging on Max's door. She's like, "Help! Help! Help! He's after me!" And then he comes in and he pulls a gun, and Max is like, "What are you pulling the gun for?" And then Shane turns up, barges the door open, gets the gun off him, and then Max is like, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot you." Well, he doesn't say that, but he implies it. And then in the end, he was never gonna shoot him, but he's like threatening him. And he goes back to the police, and everything's all right, and everyone's safe again. So that's great. And Terry lives with Des and Daphne now, and Daphne's not happy about it because she fancies Shane still, and she's going out with Shane, so she's jealous and stuff like that. And then she's supposed to go out with Shane, but Shane has to work, and then she goes to a restaurant instead of the gig that she's supposed to go to, and then they go to the restaurant with Paul, and then Shane turns up with this, I think, probably the woman that he was chauffeuring. I didn't really notice. Yeah, sorry, I'm not up to speed with this one. The couple of episodes that were unwatchable and unlistenable have thrown me. Anyway, so that's that. What else have we got? We're getting more characters in it. Julie's got quite an arc going on with having an affair with a married man, although they've not done anything yet. And Jim goes in the bank and he's like, "Oh, are you trying to fuck my daughter?" Well, he doesn't say that exactly, but and he's like, "I can assure you, I am not sleeping with your daughter." I'm sure they toned all this down when they put it on the UK stuff. I don't remember all this shagging and sleeping around shit going on. I mean, it was always implied, but it was never talked about, really. Like, you used to have the scenario of people kissing, smiling, then the light goes off, and then the next day they're smiling, and yeah, we're pretty sure you fucked. But there's none of that subtlety here in the early days of this program. Anyway, what else? Yeah, so Julie's in love after a couple of days with this new bank manager, and he doesn't know how to feel about it, but he's all right. He's a decent guy, even though he's married. He's in a loveless marriage, like most people are, and his wife's been cheating on him and stuff. Okay, what else? The busybodies aren't in this anymore. They've just disappeared somewhere. I don't know why. Every time they want a new busybody, they're like, "Oh, is there any British actors in Australia? We need another busybody." Mrs. Mangle's not in this yet. Anyway, I divert. What else? Max isn't the worst person in the world. He's going down the leagues, but he's up there. He just shouts all the time. That's his thing. He's just shouting. Maria, yeah. Oh, they're getting a divorce. Shock horror. And he's like, "You've already got the house." And it's like, "Well, you gave her the fucking house, you idiot." Anyway. So Danny, Shane, Paul, Julie, Des. I think that's about it. I've probably forgot some. If I forget some, I'll update you in the next video, because it's getting on for 10 minutes now. Anyway, like, subscribe, share, all that gubbins.